He destroyed everybody at light heavyweight, which at the time was the toughest weight class in the company, in the sport.
They love him, dog. The reception this guy gets everywhere we go is nuts. Because he went to Canada, dude. There had to be 10,000 people in that mall to see him sign some autographs. Everywhere he goes, people are just drawn to him. And I believe that part of that intrigue is the fact that we still don't know him. Generally, we get to know guys before they become champions, right?
Yes.
It felt like you knew Max Holloway because he was around so long before he got to the belt. Leon Edwards and all those other guys, you feel like you know him. Alex Pereira has still only been here for 2.5 years, bro.
Seriously.
It's been 2.5 years, and the dude's already had 2 UFC championships.
Especially when this option is more than possible given the popularity of the Brazilian potent and greatness of unmatched Jones.
Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira is a fantasy, a fight that exists only in online debates and social media callouts, a clash of timelines and weight classes that should never happen. But what if the two most terrifying ascents in UFC history are on a collision course that not even contracts or weight divisions can stop? This isn't just about another super fight. This is about the story of two men who were never supposed to be here. One who escaped a life of alcoholism to become a two-division champion in record time, and another who was destined for the pulpit but instead became the most dominant and controversial fighter of all time. By the end of this video, you will understand the parallel, improbable journeys that make this fantasy fight the most logical and explosive conclusion to the debate, the impossible rise of Alex Pereira. The story of the future two-division UFC champion begins not in a gym but in the favelas of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Born July 7th, 1987, Alex Pereira's origin was so modest that a future in sports wasn't even a distant dream. Life was a game of survival. Dropping out of school at 12 to work in a tire shop, he was immersed in an environment that taught him a difficult trade but also led him down a dark path. Surrounded by older colleagues, he picked up the habit of drinking daily, and by 16, he was a full-blown alcoholic. The alcohol fueled a temper that often led to brawls. Yet, in those street fights, Pereira discovered an instinct and a natural power that he consistently used to come out on top. This realization was the spark. At 21, fighting became his way out. He turned to kickboxing, and his raw, natural talent was undeniable. In just a few years, he was dominating competitions, quickly climbing the ladder with a combination of tactical mastery and devastating physical power. It was this power that earned him the nickname Poatan, meaning hands of stone. His fame was cemented in the Glory Kickboxing organization, where he became the first fighter in history to hold both the middleweight and light heavyweight titles. This run made him a legend.
He walks around he weighs in at 184. And then he weighs in on the fight day at 219. That's crazy. That's so big. He's a heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's a fucking heavyweight.
With a modest 3-1 record, Pereira arrived in the UFC and immediately put the world on notice. His ability to send opponents into the stratosphere with a touch of death made him one of the most feared fighters on the planet. In just 1 year, after 3 straight victories, he earned a title shot against that same rival, Israel Adesanya. In November 2022, he conquered the middleweight championship, dethroning a king. Though he lost the belt in a rematch, Pereira's journey was far from over. He moved up to the light heavyweight division, dispatching a gauntlet of former champions. He beat Jan Błachowicz. Then, in November 2023, he knocked out Gigi Prochaska to become the UFC light heavyweight champion, a two-division title holder. He then solidified his reign by headlining the historic UFC 300 on short notice and later delivering a devastating knockout in his rematch against Prochaska. Now, Alex Pereira stands at the very top of the MMA world.
He destroyed everybody at light heavyweight, which at the time was the toughest weight class in the company, in the sport. And then he moved up to heavyweight, won easily at heavyweight. And when you look at a guy and you look at what he was doing outside the octagon at the same time, which shouldn't be part of it, shouldn't be part of the equation, but when you do, wow. Jon Jones, there's no debate. Nobody can debate who's the greatest of all time. It's absolutely positively Jon Jones. He's never lost. No, he's never been beat in the octagon ever.
The unbreakable legacy of Jon Jones. His future opponent, at least in our fantasies, was born in the same month and year on July 19th, 1987, but his world was entirely different. Raised in a religious family with a priest for a father, Jon Jones was pushed toward the church, but his stubborn nature saw a future in sports instead. He first pursued football, where his skinny build earned him the nickname Bones, but his true calling was Greco-Roman wrestling. Jones was agile, elusive, and preternaturally gifted, becoming one of the best high school wrestlers in the state. He enrolled in college with dreams of becoming a police officer, but life intervened. When his wife became pregnant, Jones made the decision to provide for his family, and he saw his future in the world of mixed martial arts. With just a few months of training in his garage, armed with books and early video tutorials, Jones made his professional debut on April 12, 2008. This date marked a point of no return for the entire sport. Between April and July, Bones earned 6 stoppage victories in just 4 months, securing a ticket to the UFC. Evolving before our very eyes, a young Jon Jones, barely 20 years old, dismantled every opponent with an unorthodox and masterful technique. Highlight after highlight followed, and the public's fascination with this prodigy grew. By March of 2011, on just 1 month's notice, the UFC gave him a title shot. He faced Mauricio Shogun Rua and won by TKO, becoming the youngest champion in the history of the promotion. From there, Jones began to solidify his legacy. He defended his belt with a consistency and dominance that was truly magical, crushing the best fighters of a generation. However, this historic run was shadowed by subsequent scandals. Between 2015 and 2018, legal issues and suspensions added controversy to his name. Yet, he always returned, reclaiming his status and continuing to clean out the division until February 2020. Having achieved the status of the greatest fighter of all time, he could have stopped, but Jones wanted more. He took a 3-year break, preparing his body to move up to the heavyweight division. On March 4th, 2023, he made his return, sensationally submitting the formidable Cyril Gane in just 2 minutes to become the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. Conclusion. And that brings us to now, 2 undisputed champions, reigning atop 2 different divisions. The hype is no longer just a fantasy. It's a potential battle for the ages, a rivalry that could match the biggest in the sport's history. Such a turn of events is more than possible. There is little that could stop this matchup from becoming a reality. The unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. The only question left would be, who is truly the greatest of all time?